Hello, everybody, and welcome to the season finale of Battle of the Bangers Season 4. I am your host. My name is Tyler, and, of course, I am joined by the boys. We have Brennan.
What's going on, folks?
And we have Kyle.
Welcome to the party. How's it going?
Yes, welcome to the party indeed. It has been a spicy, spicy party all season long. We have, of course, been having a battle between 8 of the bands on this year's Sad Summerfest lineup, seeded based on monthly listeners on Spotify. And this may seem generic, but we are at the end and we have the number 1 seed against the number 2 seed. It's less generic when you realize this has never occurred in Battle of the Bangers history. It is always upsets, and this time it is not. It's been the number 1 and the number 2 just powering through, and it has left us in a bit of a tight spot because this is a very, very big name final we have here. It's against the Current versus Neck Deep. Holy shit. I am afraid to even touch this one.
Yep.
Everyone who watches this will be upset by whatever we pick. It doesn't matter which one we pick. Everyone will hate it. There is no right answer here. Both of these bands are incredible, as we've stated in previous episodes where they've just beaten the shit out of other bands, you know? They're the 2 most listened to bands on this tour for a reason, because they are just that good. May seem generic, but that's just the fucking truth, baby. Where do we even want to begin with this? Guys, do you have any opening thoughts that you want to throw out? Any direct comparisons you want to make to start things off?
I guess a quick little recap over the tournament itself.
Yeah.
Mayday Parade set the bar pretty close to the ground. Okay. A couple of these bands tried really hard to play limbo with it. Some bands just stepped over it, just got over that bar. These 2 bands put themselves in howitzers and blasted themselves so high over the bar. I mean, this is what the final should have been the whole time. I mean, maybe, Mayday Parade and State Champs, I think probably the 2 closest, actually, to these 2, in my opinion.
Sure.
Yeah, I would agree.
Man, fuck. I mean, we said it all before. Against the Currents is pretty much like the hot shit right now. The last couple records, I think, were really solid, really good pieces of work. It's crazy. Tyler and I actually saw them in Cleveland years ago, and totally
we didn't even realize it until this episode between episodes. We were like, "Holy shit, that was Against the Current that opened for them."
Right, and you have a band that's absolutely solid. Once again, I know we mentioned this every episode. Released a song for League of Legends, which I think put them in the 1 seed. But the rest of the work's absolutely no slouch. Against, in my opinion, the cornerstone of this entire tournament in Neck Deep when it comes to pop punk. Very tough matchup. I think I know which way I would go. But my vote is absolutely no slight against the other band, not whatsoever. But I think this is what the final should have been from the get-go. So,
yeah, very fair.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me personally, this is really weird because I've been listening to Neck Deep for quite a while. It's one of the ones that I came into this tournament having somewhat of a background with, not as much as maybe Mayday Parade and stuff, but I've been listening for quite a hot second. And whereas fucking Against the Current, I'm a pretty new listener. I really haven't given them a ton of a chance before now, and that even though I've only been listening to one for a pretty short time, I immediately understand. I immediately can dissect and understand that the music that Against the Current is creating is deserving of being in this grand finals. We already said it was deserving of being here over Mayday Parade, and that's a massive fucking statement. So what does that mean against Neck Deep? I'm honestly not super sure because like Neck Deep, like you said, Bryden, it's one of the cornerstones, and man, I don't know. This is tough.
Yeah, it really is tough. I mean, I guess one comparison that we have to make is kind of the comparison that we've had in a lot of other matchups. I feel like we have one band that is very much like toward the pop end of the spectrum, and one band that is very squarely in the punk side of the spectrum. And that inherently makes this more difficult because it is kind of like comparing apples and oranges in a way. So like I don't even know genre-wise if that becomes a factor, because I feel like that just turns into subjectivity more than anything. It's just tough. Like I don't even know like where there has to be like one major like thing for them to like stand on like equal terms to like battle out, right? I don't know what that is off the top of my head though. It's just so hard to like pinpoint.
I mean, just going off like what you said already, the fact that like Neck Deep is like very punk centric and I guess the Current's more pop centric. I think that like when we made that comparison, whenever Neck Deep was against Water Parks, I think there was like a clear the fact that like Neck Deep is centric to punk, but does very often like incorporate a good bit of pop and other stuff. Like they are not just a one trick pony. Whereas I think that's kind of where Water Parks fell a tad to it, where they really didn't have a ton of punk going on. Mm-hmm. Now, I guess against the Current, I do think against the Current is totally ready to throw some punk in there. You know, like they're the same way. And on top of that, I think against the Current's doing even more at times. You know, they really are just like fucking throwing, like we were talking before, funky shit in there, especially in the last album, the album before that. And
I guess that's sort of like the main thing for me that's kind of separating these bands is like against the Current branches out a lot more. They have a lot more stuff that kind of like pushes the envelope. They have a lot more stuff that stands out like within their discography. Just a lot of very unique sounding stuff. Whereas Neck Deep always very much stays in that pocket of just like, we're going to play pop punk and we're going to do it well. So I guess like, what do we favor more here in like this direct comparison? Like, do we favor more variety and trying things and sort of succeeding in like a more widespread area, or do we value doing one thing and just doing it so incredibly perfectly well that it is basically like the standard for that style of pop punk, right? I guess that's sort of an argument to be made.
I mean, yeah, it's a good argument. It's tough though.
Yeah. I don't even know what I would pick. I feel like generally we tend to go for like the variety angle, but also it feels weird to be like, these guys are essentially like the foundation of some of the best parts of the genre, but just because they don't branch out a lot, they're going to lose the fight. Like that seems weird to me to say. I'm just not going to feel good about whoever wins this. I mean, it just feels... Can we have a tie? I don't... It just feels wrong to axe either one of these bands, man.
I mean, personally, I'm just gonna put my vote out there. Break this ice a little bit. I'm going with Neck Deep. And like I said, my vote absolutely zero slight against the Current. You know, Tyler put it very best. You know, they're more willing to branch out, you know, find new things, you know, and succeed in those new things. You know, I haven't listened to their entire discography, but I did not find any real bad music in it. You know, I actually really enjoy the League of Legends song. I think it is awesome. hats off to them for getting that kind of endorsement. And like I said, their last 2 records, incredibly solid. Every song that I've listened to on them, I thoroughly enjoyed. But then you have Neck Deep, which, I mean, yeah, maybe they're not the same genre-wise, but all of these bands that are in Sad Summerfest, all right, Life is Not Out to Get You is the bar. That is the standard. That is what, and I said this in the last episode, every pop punk album that comes out, should be measured with that as the barometer. And, you can even throw the Peace and the Panic in there as well, being just a step beneath that. And yeah, their newest record, they were pretty much on schedule to release a record that didn't really match the hype. And even then, I don't think it's a bad record whatsoever. So, in my opinion, I think that being a cornerstone and a pillar of what this entire festival is pretty much revolving around, I think that carries a little bit more weight than a band that you could argue objectively does more and succeeds at more. So, my vote's Neck Deep.
It was a very solid stance.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Kyle, I'm gonna pass it right over to you.
I definitely agree, with a lot of what you said. But, as you're saying what you're saying, I'm thinking to myself, because unfortunately, like my mileage with Against the Current is low.
Right.
However, I went through like pretty much everything that they've done and listened to most of it at least once. And I tell you what I immediately thought to myself is that I want to come back and listen to all of it again. And that does not happen often. Not very often at all. Usually there'll be something that I'm just like, well, maybe I won't come back to this album. Like maybe I'll pick and choose like 2 albums, 3 albums, something. And that's impressive to me. And then I'm thinking, well, how does that compare to Neck Deep? Obviously they've got fucking like pillars of albums that we've already talked about. But then again, I think back to like the really early Neck Deep stuff. I don't really come back to it very often, as much. And I've known it's been there for a long time, and maybe it's just like it's been out for so long, maybe that's why I kind of just like got tired with it, with fatigue with it. I know that I don't come back to it as much. But on top of that, I haven't come back to the newest Neck Deep album since it came out. I really haven't. And not a slight against it, because it's really not a bad album. It's just not something that's going to grip me and pull me back in. And with that comparison, next to like you said, Brennan, objectively, I think that Against the Current really is fucking like moving the needle. Like I said moving the needle before, and they're trying more things. They're fucking adding shit to the genre, and I think they're gonna be like one of the next cornerstones of the genre going forward.
And I agree. Yeah.
I know we said before, like right away about Against the Current, where we were like maybe the League of Legends song like bolstered them up to first seed pretty quick. Without it, even if you like took that like nerd culture, and you took it out of the fact that like that really gained them a lot of listens, I think they're wildly deserving of it, and I think they were already on track to get there, and I have full faith that they would. I'm gonna go with Against the Current here. As much as it pains me, much like the last time when I said they beat Mayday Parade, those were big hurdles, Mayday Parade and then Neck Deep, and yet I think they are deserving of them. It's crazy.
I am excellent pick.
Simultaneously extremely happy that both of these bands got a vote, and extremely unhappy that I have to be the one who decides the result of this tournament. Because both of your reasoning is extremely sound. Like the logic behind picking either one, you guys both have just like like platinum encrusted, like diamond chiseled pedestals that you have put your arguments on, and they're just like unshakable. So it really just depends on like breaking down which I feel holds more weight. Because I agree 100% with everything that both of you guys said. I guess for me, the deciding factor, since this is based around Sad Summerfest, the event, right? Which of these bands would it be more disappointing to not attend a pop punk festival? If that makes sense. It's kind of the angle I'm having. Because I feel like if Against the Current was not part of this event, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Not to say that it's not bad, because obviously I really like Against the Current, but I'm more so saying that like Neck Deep is such a fucking staple of the genre, and as a person who's gone to both Sad Summerfests previously, they are a band who I've been like, why aren't they at this event? Like, they have to come to this eventually because they are like just the linchpin of the scene, right? So I feel like based on that, I think that is what's going to give me the edge to vote for Neck Deep, because I feel like they encapsulate the spirit of the event more. They are more fitting with the vibe of the event, and they belong at Sad Summerfest. In my opinion, they should be headlining, not water parks. I still don't really get that.
Yeah,
at all.
There are so many other bands that could have headlined.
Yeah, and maybe they changed that, and I'm just talking out my ass because we're recording this like before the tours even started, and we could have comments being like, "Water Parks isn't headlining, Neck Deep headlining, so fucking stupid." Like it could happen, and I hope that does happen. I'll take a bite to my pride to have justice win. I am fine with that.
To have justice prevail.
But yeah, I
what
think
a righteous man you are.
I know. I'll carry that cross. I think that Neck Deep it feels like the right answer. When we're talking about this as an event, I feel like Neck Deep belongs at the event more so than Against the Current, which is a subjective take. And I do think that like objectively Against the Current, I am also newer to them. Like I think me and Kyle both, and Brennan, didn't really listen to them until having to make this series. So like, I definitely plan on going back to them a lot. I really like them a lot. I might like them more than Neck Deep, like as a band, but I think Neck Deep is deserving of claiming the championship here. So
yeah,
there it is. The answer's in. Neck Deep comes in.
I think Against the Current was the best adversary that Neck Deep could have fought.
I agree.
Final.
I agree.
After listening to their music, they are give them 3 years and they'll be pretty much what Neck Deep is for sure.
Yeah, I think that they are going to be a linchpin of the way that pop punk is sort of going nowadays. You know, because things are kind of shifting to a more like pop experimental side, as we've seen with a lot of bands recently, including Water Parks, who's on this list. You know, I think that's sort of the direction that the scene is going, whether you like it or not. And I think that they are probably a big reason why, and that's gonna go down in the annals of history that they were part of the shift. But Neck Deep. Yeah. Neck Deep takes it. Congratulations to Neck Deep. Round of applause for Neck Deep for winning the Sad Summerfest Battle of Bangers bracket. This was a fun one, guys. I'm really happy that we got to do this one. Exposed us to some bands that we otherwise would not have given a shot, which in some cases was really cool because we found some great bands, and in some cases was very not good because we experienced some things that we'll never go back to again. but that's the way it goes, right? It is what it is. But for anybody who has listened or watched this entire series and stuck along this journey for us, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, because we know that no one on our channel really asked for this. This is just something that I thought would be cool to do, and I really wanted to talk about to get hype for the tour. So thank you if you watched these and commented and just had this journey with us. I really appreciate it. And next season, we already have it in the works. It's gonna be a fan suggested one. We've had a few, so if you were one of them, just know it might be you that we're coming on and we're gonna do it. This is gonna be fun.
Oh, what's it gonna be? Who knows?
But yeah, that does it for season 4 of Battle of the Bangers. If you liked this video, please go ahead and give it a like, because that really does help out a lot. And obviously comment below on who you think should have won the grand final. Do you think that we robbed against the Current of a well-deserved victory? Do you agree that Neck Deep should take it? Let us know in the comments below. Obviously, we ask that you please subscribe to the Talks A Lot Boys and ring the bell, because A, that helps out a ton, and B, then you'll get notified whenever we, start the next season of Battle of the Bangers. Fan-requested season of Battle of the Bangers. Exciting stuff. And, obviously go back and watch previous seasons of the show if you liked it. Watch some of our other content, because we do a bunch of reviews and reactions and drama bits now, apparently. Yeah. This was fun. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We have been the Talks A Lot Boys. We will talk a whole lot more next time. See you later.